This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, thank you everyone for joining this session. This is Satish from Isha. Um, Today, we wanted to probably have a session on the trends that we are um, observing, uh, both from performance testing and engineering among our customers in general in the market as well. We just wanted to probably discuss among ourselves how is that trend is that something we are observing today in the market. Okay, so I believe most of you belong to a performance testing community or maybe a testing community as well, right? So and as part of our roles and responsibility, from a performance testing perspective, more or less every one of us might be doing the non-functional requirements, scripting, load and stress executions, analysis, reporting. So pretty much we do this end to end, or a couple of these activity depending upon your skill set, depending upon your experience, depending upon your role. We might be doing all these things end to end, or probably just the scripting or execution, right? So pretty much that is what we'll be doing it in most of the project. Now, if at all we wanted to move to the next level, or upskill ourselves, cross skill ourselves in the areas, it needs to be future focused, or at least it should be focusing towards whatever trend we are looking into it, right? Whatever you wanted to learn, whatever you wanted to upskill, it should be along the lines of what is it today the market is expecting, the customers are expecting, to make yourself future ready, right? So that whatever time you're going to spend, it is going to be meaningful one. So from that perspective, when you think of what next I can learn, what next I can upskill, so the general trend that we are looking into the current market scenario is, I will split this into three category. Okay, one of the category is more towards the way the products are getting delivered, the more the applications are getting developed and delivered, right? Both cloud and DevOps are more towards the choice of the your application owners, the choice of your business, right? They prefer cloud for obvious advantage. They prefer DevOps to bring in a lot of automation, to bring in that agility to the life cycle. So cloud and DevOps are more towards the process or the approach adopted by the project teams. So from a performance testing perspective, we are not going to be a cloud architect. We are not going to be a DevOps engineer, right? Our role is still going to be a performance tester or performance engineer. We are not going to become a cloud architect or DevOps engineer, but it is good to learn, good to equip ourselves in these technology or this terminology, right? Some basic certifications, some be it as a AWS certification or Azure certification, at least a level 0, a beginner certification is something would help you whenever you're going to be part of the cloud project or DevOps project. It won't be a complete um, black box. It won't be a complete Latin or other language, right? You should be able to understand the terminologies, what they speak, whatever terms that are mentioned in the cloud services, the tools that are available in each of these cloud. In that perspective, it is very, very important to get a basic understanding of how cloud operates, how DevOps operates, some of a very basic certification that is available, and equip yourself so that whenever you're going to put into a project where cloud is going to be or DevOps is followed, you will be able to adopt to that environment, right? There are going to be few strategical difference in the way we are going to do performance testing in each of these area, but that we will learn as per the requirement, as per the landscape. But it's very important for you to get comfortable in that environment, to for you to work in the cloud environment. if you know all these terminologies and at least get a basic certification, it is going to be important. Hey, somebody is asking no recording. It is recorded. The recording is turned on already. Okay.
So Satish, actually, hi, this is John. So, sorry to interrupt in between. If you talk about certification, so can you share little a bit on a broad, how the certification will, will be the performance perspective or a cloud engineer perspective?
No, the basic certification that is available in any of these AWS or Azure, it is not going to be performance testing specific. In fact, I don't see any performance specific certificate in any of your Azure or GCP or AWS services. Okay, it's all going to be to administer the AWS cloud, or to be a basic developer or basic infrastructure admin. The basic, whatever you need to know all about AWS, that is what the basic certificate will cover, not anything specific to performance. There is nothing specific to performance testing or performance engineering available in any of the cloud, but that is not even required, because performance testing and engineering is not going to be so different at all. It is all going to be same, but the certification will be more focused on you to understand what are the various services available within cloud, how the user management works, what are the various tools that are available. So those will be a basic thing that you should know to use that specific cloud services. Okay, it won't
So
be
you
any
have
performance testing specific.
so you have merged cloud services with performance engineering, right? If I get to know about the now you what you mentioned, so it is for cloud services merged with performance engineering, right? If I make it on a broad section, right?
Uh, you mean about the certification?
Yes.
No, see, there is no certification at all for performance testing. Anybody, you can be a developer, you can be a tester, you can be an infra, you could be any software engineer. Uh, it is common for everyone. The basic certification, what I'm referring is,
Right.
it is going to be common for everyone to get started with cloud. It's
And
more of a
with
ABCD.
the session, if you talk about, going ahead with the session, so you mentioned that we'll be covering cloud and infrastructure, right, and with performance engineering. So, will this course will be inclined towards these areas, or how you're talking about? How we can think from broader perspective. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah, others able to hear?
yeah.
Yeah, some audio problem. Can you please go to the question?
Okay. So my question is this session, will be going ahead, that will be inclined towards cloud services with performance engineering,
No, 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 no,
or
no, no, no.
something else? Yeah.
Nothing. See, okay. To summarize, right, this session is more about what are all areas you can expand your knowledge from a basic performance tester. What are the next thing available for you to upskill yourself? So one is going to be cloud, one is going to be DevOps, and then so these two things are all more in terms of the projects are going to be operated through the cloud, through the DevOps, and we as a performance tester, they're going to go and get some basic certification in these areas, spend some time, upskill yourself. It's going to be definitely useful for you to work in the projects. That is more in terms of cloud and DevOps. The second segment is going to be extension of performance testing. Okay, extension of performance testing. It's going to be your engineering, your performance engineering or an SRE. Okay, again, SRE is a very a buzzword in last year or two. A lot of big companies have been coined this name called site reliability engineering. There's no single definition for that. Earlier, it used to be just your chaos engineering, production synthetic monitoring. That is what they call it as a SRE earlier. Now they have a job description saying you have to be a performance tester, you have to be a performance engineer, you have to do a chaos engineering, you have to do synthetic monitoring, everything together. They say with a single job description name called SRE. Okay, so for you as a next step, you have two choice from an engineering perspective. You can be a performance engineering. You can take up a performance engineering stream, or you can also go to advanced site reliability engineering. That's the second segment. Third segment is something interesting where it is more about um, cross-skilling. See, first, cloud DevOps engineering is more about upskilling. You're still going to be a performance tester. You're still going to be a performance engineer. You're going to upskill. This other two things, SDET and full stack QA, both are all kind of an cross-skilling. Okay, so in lot of the agile projects today, there are going to be small pod-like team where you will have two developer, two tester, right? Where you will have a very lean team, and from a testing perspective, there are not going to be specific to functional testing, specific to automation, specific to performance testing. There is no cushion for having multiple people. So there, the teams are expecting a single person to do multiple things. Okay, so which, say for example, you are going to have a two person, one who is good in automation, one is good in performance testing. Okay, in every sprint, you cannot expect to have a lot of work for performance testing. In some sprint, you will have more work for automation. In some sprint, you will have more work for performance testing. So the expectation is there is going to be a one core SME who is good in automation, one core SME who is good in performance, but you should also know the other testing. Automation testers should know performance testers should know automation testing, so that they can support each other. Okay, so majority of things will be driven by automation tester, but you should be able to go and create Selenium script or use their framework, enhance these scripts, or fix the scripts. That level of knowledge you should have it. So the cross skilling is going to be uh, good to have. You can either probably learn Selenium or rest assured kind of scripting framework in automation, functional automation, so that you can be part of this pod team. Definitely, when you're going to go and tell that you know performance testing, you are a SME in performance testing, but you also know Selenium, you also know the other automation framework. Definitely, people will be attracted towards your skill set. Okay, even in the external market or within the team, they will be willing to take it, because in these project structure where there's going to be a lean team, everybody should be able to do everything from a testing perspective. Okay, so that is something you can definitely pick up from a performance testing. You can cross skill yourself to security testing, or performance, or sorry, the automation testing, or usability accessibility testing. So at least more than one, it would be good if at all you wanted to go towards this line. The other one is called SZ. SZ is more towards the helping the developers. Now you are helping the other testers. If you are interested in development, if you're good in programming, if you already have done some programming earlier in your career, or you are very passionate towards these coding and code level analysis, then SZ is also something where you can be a pure performance tester, but you can also involved in some of the code reviews, or code fixes, or a little bit of an enhancement when a CR comes, writing some unit test scripts, working with the developers and probably helping out the development team will also be a good skill to have. So if you're passionate towards that, you can upskill yourself in Java or Python or Node, any of the JavaScript kind of a language, so that you can definitely think towards being an SDET as well. Okay, again, all depends upon your interest level and what is that you want to be. Cloud and DevOps is something in generic, right? You have to get yourself comfortable. There is no other choice, because that is more towards adopting to the project environment. But do you want to be a performance engineer? Do you want to be a SRE, site reliability engineer? Do you want to be a full stack QA engineer, or you want to be SDET? That is something it's going to transform you to the next level, to choose your projects, for people to choose you. This is going to help you. Cloud and DevOps is more about it. It is going to be mandatory at some point of time, right? You have to know DevOps principle. You have to automate certain performance testing in DevOps. You have to understand the cloud terminologies, cloud technologies. It is going to be generic, depending upon you want to be SDET, or you want to be a full stack QA, you want to be a performance engineer. Cloud and DevOps is something you need to definitely learn and get the basics. You're not going to be, again, you're not going to be a cloud architect, you're not going to be a DevOps engineer. There are going to be people who are going to be present in the team as a DevOps engineer or a cloud architect. We're not going to go there. It is just that we are going to make ourselves comfortable in those areas. So which means it is a mandatory one, and it is going to be lightweight. We are going to keep it very simple. But when you want to decide to the next level, all the rest, performance engineering, SRE, full stack QA, and then SDETs are going to be there. Okay. From engineering perspective, or SRE perspective, right? As I said earlier, uh, 3 years back, 4 years back, there are big companies like Netflix, all these people were doing all this chaos engineering uh, in production, in pre-production environment, and they add a specific people who are called as site reliability engineer, who are focused on these kind of work. Okay, doing chaos testing. Probably most of you might have heard about chaos testing, right? Chaos testing is nothing but, normally what we do in performance testing, we send load through load runner or JMeter. We observe CPU, memory, everything. And if everything is good, we say, okay, response time is good, CPU is good, memory is good. In chaos engineering, they will go and create chaos. Um, what happens if CPU goes to 95%? What happens if one of the servers goes down? What happens if the network utilization is very, very high? What happens if hard disk is crashed? What happens one of the downstream services is going to terminated? So chaos engineering is more about creating unexpected chaos that might occur in production. You anticipate something which might occur, create that chaos, and see how your application is going to behave. How fast your application is going to recover. Okay, there is a server down. How fast one more server is added. How fast your response time is recovered. That is a chaos engineering, right? That is what typically people do it as part of this SRE role earlier. Okay, and along with that, you have this synthetic monitoring, real user monitoring, where they also take care of in production, setting up this synthetic monitoring, setting up this real user monitoring to capture the your business NFRs, to make sure proactively catching the errors, slowness in the production. All these things are all, it's part of the reliability, site reliability. But now, last 2 years, 3 years, a lot of people started kind of misusing. It is not misusing, it is more about combining a lot of activity into one role called SRE. Now if you go and search for SRE in your job sites, they will say a person has to know load runner, they have to do scripting, execution, they have to know engineering, they have to know all these chaos tools, they have to do monitoring. So they combined everything and put under a one single role called SRE. So, so if at all you are a performance tester, engineering, okay, engineering is going to be a subset of site reliability engineering. So you have to first of all learn performance engineering, and then from the performance engineering you have to upskill yourself to the chaos tools and chaos engineering. So um, first step is, even before that, it's more about understanding the monitoring parameters, monitoring tools, and then engineering, and then end user experience validations, synthetic and real user monitoring, and then comes your resilience, your chaos. So this is an area which is going to take time. It's not going to be, it's not going to 1 week or 2 week you're going to learn everything and become expert, right? You have to. It is going to take time, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, to get in depth into all these areas. It is going to take years, but you have to get started somewhere, and over the time you will become experienced on these areas. But definitely, if you are interested, if you are passionate toward performance, you have to get into this depth. You have to get into these areas slowly from a performance testing. uh, slow and steadily. All these areas you have to learn and equip yourself. Okay. um, and more from the, so we have, is that, again, is that I will not go in depth again. It's more, if you only, if you are passionate in development and coding, you can go there. Full stack QA. See, there are, I would say, um, two options. If you are, if you want to be a multi skilled person, or if you wanted to expand your testing knowledge, definitely security testing or automation testing is going to be a really a value add. Okay, definitely very eye catching when you're going to say you're a performance engineer, or sorry, performance tester, plus you also know automation. Really, you're going to be picked by most of the team internally or externally. Similarly, if you're going to be a performance engineer with all these skill set, at least some of these skill set, again, you're going to be very niche in the job market. So this or that, SRE, or sorry, a performance engineer or full stack QA, both as equal weightage, both as its own market. Definitely, you are, whatever time you're going to spend, definitely it is going to worth on it. Yes, that it is still good, but only if you are really passionate towards the development or passionate toward coding. You have to look for that. Otherwise, you can keep it aside. So it's going to be performance engineering versus full stack QA. And for both these things, cloud and DevOps is going to definitely help you, right? So from a, again, from a cloud perspective, I was in the beginning, right, I told, there is no specific performance testing or engineering courses or certification. The reason is, your testing and engineering is going to be still same. Okay, when you say the applications are going to move to cloud, your application is still going to be same, right? You have a Java application, your .NET application, it can be deployed in physical data center machines or in your cloud VMs, right? Only the infrastructure is going to change. Your application is not going to change, right? Still, you have to do a scripting. Still, you have to do execution. Still, you have to monitor. Still, you have to do the profiling, EBDM, ThreadDem, AWS report analysis. Everything is going to be still, the engineering is going to be still common for the cloud application as well. Few things might change. There might be few new tools for monitoring in cloud. Few new testing scenarios you may have to include, right? For example, there is something called auto scaling in the cloud, right? That is why people say cloud is scalable. It will auto scale. If you want 5 missions, uh, uh, if you currently have three VMs running, your load is increasing. You want to increase the load from you want to increase the server from 3 to 5. It will increase in a minute or 2 or 3 minutes, right? It is auto scalable. Okay. That is why they say
Satish,
performance is going to be very good in cloud. Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, Satish. Satish, but probably you were mentioning about the cloud testing, right? I mean, the application which we are shifting out to the cloud, or maybe we are pushing to the cloud, probably you are testing, you will be focusing on the performance testing with respect to cloud, right? And if I talk about cloud infrastructure, that is already a tool, right, which supports you to build your, I mean, probably you can, migrate from one application to another application or migrate a platform. So, I mean, do we need to test those scenarios as well? I mean, as you mentioned.
Then I don't know, I don't know, problem with my end or your end. It's breaking in between. If you don't mind, can you put
Is
that
it
question in the
fine
chat?
now? Yeah. Okay. So my question is, you are focusing more into cloud infrastructure testing, right? And moreover, as you mentioned that we are moving our application from one environment to another environment from the cloud. So we will be adding those scenarios as well.
See, when we move the application from a data center to cloud, okay, so all the regular load testing, endurance, stress, everything is going to be same. In addition to that, we'll also include a scenario test to test the auto scaling, whether the auto scaling is going to work or not, and how fast your machine is going to spin off, and what is the impact during this auto scaling. Say, for example, the rules for auto scaling is going to be, when my CPU is 70%, give me a new machine. When a memory is going to be more than 90, give me a new machine. When there is going to be a high network utilization, give me a new machine. There's going to be rules for which you will get a new machine, right? That's auto scaling. So when you go and test your application, you're going to put additional load and create this condition where it is going to cross 70% of CPU. Then how fast you're going to get a new mission, and during this interval, whether your response time is going to get impacted or not, because a new mission can come in 1 minute or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It depends upon your application. A new application to get deployed in that new mission, it's going to take time, right? In that time, your existing VMs can go from 70% to 90% CPU immediately. What happens when the new mission is going to get added to the load balancer? There might be errors because of these routing. So you have to test auto scaling, how fast your machines are going to come up, whether there is impact in response time, there is impact in errors. All these things you will have to test it as part of your cloud testing scenarios. In addition to your, say, everything is going to be same. You have to do a scripting, you have to do a load testing, you have to do endurance, you have to do stress testing, you have to do monitoring. Additionally, you also have to test these auto scaling, right? So that is why I say there is, you might have tools, right? In the normal environment, you might use Perfmon, we might use VM stats for infra monitoring. In the cloud, Azure has a Azure monitor, AWS has the cloud watch. So you might have to use those available tools within the cloud for the infra monitoring. See, why I say infra monitoring? Cloud provides infra only. You're going to deploy the application. You might still use AppDynamics, you will still use Dynatrace, but you might also use the tools that are available within the cloud as well. Okay, so when you're going to learn about these basic certification, you will also learn about those monitoring tools, though the whatever log analytic tool they have it. All these basic things will be covered in the basic certification.
We lost you, Satish. In the
Hi, Satish.
Oh, is it?
Your voice is
Satish.
not audible, Satish.
Oh, is it okay now?
Yeah, it's fine. Satish, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Satish, your voice is not. Yeah, your voice is not clear.
So is it okay now? Is it okay now or not bad? Disconnect and connect.
Yeah, no, it's better. It's better now. It's better now compared to the previous one. No, it's better. The same thing is going on again.
Yeah, this time. Go ahead, Arun. Go.
Yeah, Satish, see, what are the tests, as you said about that load test, stress, and endurance? Each and every test has some objective is there, right? In that case, if you are going to use the auto scaling part, then you can, I think it's very difficult to find out to get all test objective. Could you correct me if I am getting wrong?
Okay, see, we are not going to combine everything, right? You are going to run the load testing first. Okay. Say you might have already done the benchmarking. Okay. For a 1 JVM, you might need 300 users or 500 users, and your target is 1000 user. Okay. For 1000 users, you might need 5 JVMs or 5 VMs. Okay. So you will turn off the auto scaling. You will just have 5 VMs. and run 1000 user test. Typically, the way you do it in data center, right? Where you will have a standard machine, no auto scaling and all. You will have 5 VMs or 10 VMs. Whatever you have, your capacity projection is, accordingly, you just turn on those 5 machines, no auto scaling, go and run your load test. Make sure that your CPU is good, memory is good, response times are good. That is how you do a load testing to meet your SLA objective. And then for stress test, it's going to be 2x. Run a 2000 user load with the same server configuration, server capacity, and then see whether the application is scaling. Endurance, run for 8 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. Make sure that there is no memory leak. Those are the objective from load test and endurance. When it comes to auto scaling, then what you do is, then you go and have auto scaling saying I need a VM from minimum as 3 VMs, maximum as 8 VMs. Run your load test, and then during a load test, you have to create a chaos, okay, where CPU can go up to 70%, 80%. You have to create those condition depending upon the chaos tool that you might use. You might use Gremlin, you might use some chaos toolkit, chaos monkey. There are a lot of tools available in the market using which you can increase the CPU from 50 to 80 or 90 just randomly, and then see whether the your new VMs are getting turned on. What is the impact to the response time? What is the impact to the error rate? That is what you're going to. The objective of this is to make sure that auto scaling works. Yeah. So, okay, able to get that clarification, Arun, from objective perspective?
Objective process that you are just tell me if I am getting wrong. First, you are just trying to say that what are the tests we have done on premises, that the same thing we are going to replicate those things by using your AWS, means in cloud pattern. That you are trying to say?
Exactly. In addition to that, see, your application is still going to be there in the cloud. Okay. And okay, there are two types of application. To answer the question, whatever I said is correct. Yes, you have to do everything what you do in data center, you have to do in the cloud also. In addition to that, you have to test the auto scaling scenarios. This is applicable for the application that is going to get hosted in the cloud, but not for the SaaS based application. Okay, in the cloud, if you're going to subscribe to a service, software as a service, there are two things. You just get the rent the infra and you use that machine. Okay, that is a different case. Like you as a organization, you go and rent the VMs. Okay, get the rent, pay the amount to cloud, you get the VMs, and you take care of the VMs, you deploy the application, you do everything, you have a complete control over the VMs. In that model, you have to make sure that performance is good, auto scaling works, everything. So whatever I said is valid for this scenario. There are another scenario which is called as SaaS, where the cloud provider will take care of everything. They will take care of your auto scaling, they will take care of your performance. You as an organization, you no need to worry about performance, you don't need to worry about number of VMs, you don't need to worry about capacity. Only thing they will provide still is, you tell me the user, we will take care of the SLA. If you want a 3 second SLA, we will give it. If you have 100% availability, we will ensure. For the SaaS based application, most of the time we will not even go and do any load testing at all. Maybe we might end up in doing the single user experience, or in production we will just understand, make sure that response times are good. For SaaS based application, where you are not going to, your organization is not going to own the capacity, you're not going to own the, now how many VMs I need, the cloud provider will take care of the, say, Salesforce kind of application, right? Example, Salesforce, they have their own cloud. You tell how many subscriber you need, they will ensure you that the performance will be taken care. So if you are going to be part of that project where you're going to involved in SaaS based product testing, you might not even require to do any load testing. You will just do a single user experience, end user experience validation, both in pre-prod and in production.
Satish, which tools will be using about the cloud infrastructure testing for auto scalable, and probably you mentioned about the other stuff for security testing as well. So, I mean, you mentioned about right for the new tools also. So, which are they and yeah.
Okay, see, testing tools are same. Load runner, JMeter, testing tools are going to be same. Monitoring, from a monitoring perspective, if it is going to be AWS, you will use CloudWatch. If it's going to be Azure, you will use Azure Monitor. And if you already your application is using APM tool, AppDynamics or Dynatrace, anything can be used. Okay. From a chaos perspective, if you wanted to create chaos, then again, if you in the organization, if they have a Gremlin, Chaos Monkey, Chaos Toolkit. In AWS, you have something called Fault Injection Simulator, FIS. Okay, it will create these chaos. It can go and inject the chaos to increase the CPU, to increase the memory, to shut down an instance all of a sudden. Okay. Similarly, Azure also you have Azure Chaos Service, Chaos Toolkit. So you will use these tools. So one is your testing tool, second is a monitoring tool, third is going to be your APM tool, and fourth is going to be your Chaos tool. Only the Chaos tool is going to be new for when it comes to cloud, and cloud specific tool will be new to cloud. Otherwise, basic testing, monitoring, APM is going to be pretty much same, depending upon what license you already got it.
Hello, I have
Talking
a
about
question.
APM, right?
Sorry,
You're talking about APM tool.
APM, application performance management tools,
Okay.
Dynatrace and yeah.
Yeah, I thought that you were talking about APM.
No, that is for the
That is on
Selenium or
mobile,
mobile.
right? That is on mobile.
Yeah, not.
Hello?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, so as you told, so SaaS-based applications organization doesn't have to do any performance testing at all.
99% not required, because the cloud provider, the SaaS provider, they will ensure about the capacity, they will ensure about the your performance. We need to just validate. Um, a single user testing may be more than enough. See, the reason is you're not going to deploy that application and tune your servers. You need to go and increase your heap or thread. Nothing you're going to do it, right? They are going to do it. They are going to take care. Uh, if at all they provide a load testing environment, then you can go and plan it. Again, you don't need to worry about how many servers they are having it. They might have 10, 20, 50, 100, 1, 2. You don't need to worry about it. You just go and do a load. You no need to monitor your CPU, memory, nothing. Only you're going to look into the your response time alone, right? Because they will host everything for you for the SaaS-based application. So two options. One, if they provide you the load testing environment, you can go and do a load testing, okay, and ensure that response times are within SLA. If they don't provide a load testing environment, you just make sure that if it is going to be a multi-geo application, you go and hit that pre-production URL from a different geo, run a small low volume test with their permission. And in production, when it goes to production, you validate your performance of your transaction, make sure that it is within SLA. If it is not within SLA, then you need to go and raise that complaint with the SaaS provider, because they will sign a contract saying they will ensure that response times are going to be within 3 seconds, availability is going to be 100%. As a performance tester or engineer, you have to just validate that in production. So those are the two things you can do from a SaaS perspective.
So most of the organization are using this model, SaaS, in AWS?
No, it depends upon, no, it is going to be, I don't know the correct split on that, but it is not every organization, right? It's going to be 50-50 or even less than that only. SaaS is not going to be there everywhere,
Yeah.
because you won't have a control on. See, when you go and purchase a product for Udemy, example, if you take Udemy, Udemy is a product learning platform, and for your company, okay, if they wanted to use Udemy, you are not going to customize anything for in Udemy, right? Now, they're going to have all these courses. So you go to Udemy. See your company, maybe I would say HCL. HCL goes to Udemy. It will say I need Udemy for my employees. And then what Udemy will do is Udemy will host this in the cloud. Will provide a udemy.hcl.com. Okay, and they will depend. HCL will say I need my 1 lakh employee to access the Udemy, and concurrently they might access. There might be 1,000 employees who will access the Udemy site. So then Udemy will go and host it in the machine. They will just randomly select the multiple geos depending upon the requirement, and they will provide you the URL. And if you are going to work in HCL, and if you are responsible for making sure that performance is going good, you will just go on. You won't do a load testing. The Udemy will not allow you to do a load testing. You can, they'll provide you a pre-production URL where you can go and check your experience from US, from UK, from India, see everything is good. And in production also, you can just go and check those sites, make sure that the courses are loading within 3 seconds, videos are loading in 5 seconds, whatever it is. That is going to be your approach. But not that SaaS is going to be a choice for everybody.
So in that case, actually, we will be giving the non-functional requirements to those AWS people, right? So they will be taking care of it.
Not to AWS people, the product team. See, Udemy is a product, right? They might use AWS, they might use Azure, they might have their own cloud also. You never know. So, what a product you are going to buy, to that product team, uh, they will host their application as a SaaS-based application in any of these cloud. It could be anything.
Okay.
In that case, to add in the point, so what is the requirement of the performance engineering? So if the cloud people are taking care, so there is no use of performance engineering work, right?
No, that is the only one case, right? SaaS is one of the model of deployment of or usage. There are going to be remaining 80%
Yeah,
is
correct.
going to be
Most of the applications and most of the customers is moving to the cloud, right? So from on-premises to cloud. So in case if it is in SaaS, so there is no requirement of the performance engineering, right?
no. Yeah. See, they move to cloud, they deploy their application. That is the 80% of the thing that is going to happen. The remaining 20% only, see, they're under project moving to cloud. 80 will use their own application. It's a custom built application. For that, everything is going to be valid. Remaining 20 projects which might go and purchase a product, SaaS product, okay, which is going to be taken care by themselves. For that 20 projects, our scope is going to be less only. But if you are going to work in that product company itself, okay, say if you are a Udemy performance engineer, okay, then you have to do everything. Okay, if you are going to be a consumer, if you are going to be in a consuming organization, you're going to purchase the Udemy, then your role as a performance tester is not that much in for Udemy, testing the Udemy. But if you are going to be there working the Udemy itself as a performance engineer, then you have to do everything for that Udemy, testing, profiling, engineering, everything you have to do it for that site. So it is still, performance testing is still going to be there. Depending upon where you are going to be, it is going to make a difference for SaaS-based application.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So to summarize that, right? So it is always good to strengthen your basics. From a performance testing is going to be your core. From there, you are going to expand your skill in engineering. That's one option. And second option is going to be your full stack QA. Okay, again depends upon your choice. Both are equally good. And from a Isha perspective, be it as a monitoring or be it being it as a load runner or performance engineering, or Selenium for performance testers, all these courses are available, both for as a short term or a crash course, or for a from normal regular course also available for most of these topics. Okay. Um, yeah. So any question you guys have, I think you can post it in the WhatsApp group, or maybe if you're interested, we can have another group discussion sometime next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay. Any questions you have, guys, put it in the WhatsApp group. We can connect offline also. And there are going to be a few sessions that are going to start. One for load runner, one for performance engineering is going to start next week. So if you are interested in anything, just put it in the message. We will reach out to you. Fine, guys. If there are no questions, thanks a lot for joining. Being it is a Sunday, appreciate really for taking your time out today. Yeah, so thank you all, guys.
Sure. Thank you, Satish.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Satish.
Thank you.